Here with me today, we have Jennifer Blay with Blay's Bees. So I had some questions for you, Jennifer. When did you start your bee business?
Let's see. So this will be my third spring. So let's count back 2020.
Wow, in the middle of COVID.
In the middle of COVID, yes.
About how many hives have you had so far?
Well, so the first year I started with 2 hives. And then the second year I decided to increase to 6 hives. The first year was in 1 location, and then the second year was in 3 locations.
And about how many bees has that added up to so far?
Ooh, I actually don't know how to tell how many bees are in a hive. I guess that's something I should research, but there are lots of bees in a hive.
Wow.
I don't have a good answer for that question.
So what is the main product you use with your bees?
For me, it's honey. I love honey, so I basically just focus on the honey portion. If you own bees, there's lots that you can do with keeping bees. You can actually extract pollen. You can work on nukes and providing bees to other people and queens, and you can also make candles or use the wax, but I am mostly interested in honey production. And then learning more about honey making, I realized that you can only use capped honey to make honey, and if it's uncapped, it ferments. And here's a prime example. When I first started beekeeping, my honey was separating, and I didn't realize that I was using uncapped honey, which is really nectar, and it'll ferment. So another product that we've been working on is mead making with the uncapped honey.
Interesting. So how much do you sell your honey for typically?
Well, the first year I sold my honey for $6 a jar because I thought that was the best price. But then after doing research, I realized I was way underselling my product. I hadn't done enough research. So now it's $10 a jar, which is pretty average. It's kind of a middle of the road price. I'm not the most expensive and I'm not the cheapest.
And about what size are these jars that you sell?
I tend to sell 1 pound jars of honey. Currently, I find that to be the best market. Most people, and interestingly, most people prefer plastic over glass. I like the glass because of the recycling aspect, but most people like to be able to squeeze their honey out, and they find it less messy. So I'm learning that people prefer the plastic versus the jar.
Interesting. And do you think it's a business expense and it's more expensive to have a glass instead of plastic, even though it's worse for the environment?
The plastic, I think, is slightly cheaper, but I think I can reuse the glass longer than I can the plastic. However, a lot of people are purchasing both my glass and my plastic and transferring their glass jarred honey into the plastic so that they can have one plastic container and have multiple glass jars because it stays, I don't know if it stays longer because honey doesn't actually go bad other than fermenting if it's got a lower or more moisture is really what the problem is. It doesn't have the right moisture content. So I think it's cheaper to do plastic, to answer your question.
That's really interesting. So what is your next 5-year goal for your business?
So when I first started doing this, it was really a hobby, and it was just to see if I could. And it was just because I realized that bees, as a science teacher, it's a love of pollinators and realizing that we're losing bees. So thinking, I can do this. And of course, I'm a lover of tea. It really was a passion for honey in and of itself. And so the first year was trial and error, not getting quality honey, number one. So my first year goal was, can I actually gather honey that looks like honey, stays like honey, and is a quality product? So my year 2 goal was a quality product, and then also trying to increase production, because the first year not only did my bees die for various reasons, they didn't overwinter, but I also didn't collect hardly any honey because they were building up their wax. So in the year 2, my goal was to see what my honey production would look like comparatively from different locations. So it's hard for me to think 5 years. I guess my end goal, because this year, as year 2, I did sell 100 pounds of honey, which I was very excited to sell 100 pounds of honey. Year 3, I'm anticipating more because now my hives don't have to make any wax this year. And so I'm actually assuming all of them should be able to double or triple their production with the same amount of hives. So I don't really know how big I want to get because I don't know if I have a market to move it. So I guess my 5-year plan is considering locations. And I've learned a lot that you're not limited in your number of apiaries, which is locations of your bees, but you're limited if you have more than your own home as an apiary. Then you can only have up to 10 hives if you're within 2 miles of someone else's hives. So for me, it's learning, where can I put them? How many hives can I have? What's my production? And how am I going to sell it? And I guess the last part in my 5-year plan would be, I really enjoy teaching others and having people come and join me. So I like having honey at people's homes where they can partake in learning about bees if they're interested. So I guess it'd be teaching, learning, expanding locations, honey production. I guess that's it.
Well, thank you, Jennifer, and we will make sure to include this in our broadcast.
Thank you.